In this video, I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on this Ford F-350 with the 7.3 liter Powerstroke engine. Let's get started. Underneath the center of the truck, you'll find the engine oil pan with a drain plug right in the center of it. Use a 19mm socket, break it free, and remove it. Have a drain pan underneath, ready to catch the oil that's going to drain out of this, and hold pressure on it as you unthread it so that on the last thread you can control when the oil comes out, as opposed to it splashing out when the bolt shoots out. Make sure you have a large enough collection bucket because this holds a few gallons of oil. And there we go. We're just going to let this drain. While that's draining, it's important to inspect the drain plug, remove the old washer, especially if it's one of these copper ones. If you used a reusable one, like rubber, you can reuse those a few times, but these copper ones, as soon as they crush, they're done. And inspect the threads on this, the head, and make sure everything's in good condition. This is. I'm going to just wipe it off with a rag to make sure that everything is nice and clean. We'll put a new washer on it and plug it up when it's done draining. Once this is done draining, wipe this area off, install the new washer on the drain plug, and plug up the oil pan. Bottom this out, snug it. I'll torque this to 20 foot-pounds. All right, that's torqued right there. If you're looking from the back of it, on the left of the oil pan is the oil filter. Let's remove this and swap it out for a new one. Typically, if it wasn't over-tightened, you should be able to grab it with two hands and unthread it. Have a collection bucket ready because oil will spill and drain as this unthreads. There it is. Let it drain in your collection bucket. Inspect the mounting area for the oil filter and wipe it off. You mainly want to make sure that the O-ring from the oil filter did not stick to the oil filter housing here. Because if it did, it would double gasket when the new one goes on and it would shoot oil everywhere. That wouldn't seal up. So you want to avoid that by cleaning this off, making sure there's no debris, of course. If you have a lot of debris around this, just make sure it's clean so that it can seal up correctly. Inspect the threads here, make sure everything is in good condition, which it is. So let's get ready to put the new oil filter on. These filters are extremely large, and I recommend and strongly suggest that you fill this up before it goes on the engine so that it doesn't start up dry. Otherwise, the oil pump is what's going to have to fill this before it actually fills the engine with oil and raises the pressure. So I'm using 15W40 oil. That's what this engine calls for. This will hold about a quart. The total capacity for this engine is 15 quarts. So whatever you put in here, make sure you take it into account later when you fill up the rest of the engine with oil. Just going to fill it up all the way, and I'm going to let this soak into the filter material. There we go. While that's soaking in, I'm going to take a clean glove, dip it in some clean oil, and lubricate the O-ring around the filter. This is going to prevent it from sticking in the future. That way, when I take it off the next time for the next oil change, it comes off with the filter as opposed to it sticking on that filter housing like I was mentioning earlier. The level will go down, so I'm going to add some more. You don't need to spend a lot of time doing this, but you want to make sure that it is as full as you can get it so that it takes less time for that oil pump to prime. With that oil filter nice and full, thread it on to the oil filter housing. It's important that it threads on smoothly. If it doesn't, that means it's cross-threading. You should be able to bottom it out with no problem, no resistance whatsoever. That's bottomed out, and I'm going to try and spin it about half a turn. Now that it is bottomed out, there we go, that's plenty tight. When you can't turn it anymore by hand, that's when you know it is fully tightened. You do not need an oil filter wrench to tighten these filters. Now let's move up top and fill up the engine with oil. Under the hood, you'll find the oil filler cap on the passenger side, about halfway over the engine. Unthread the cap counterclockwise and remove it. Set it aside, and let's fill this with the rest of our oil. And I put about 2 quarts in the filter, so 13 quarts have to go in the engine. Once you're done, remove your funnel, cap this off. To check the engine oil level, the dipstick that's in the front next to the AC compressor, labeled engine oil, is the one you're looking for. Pull it out and wipe it off as you remove it because the first reading is not going to be accurate. Now what you're looking for is for the oil level to be right up at the top here. If it's low, you likely didn't add enough. But after adding our 15 quarts, especially since we didn't start the engine yet, it should be at or even very slightly above this. If you just started your engine and then let it sit for about 5 minutes, it should be right at the full mark. So let's check it and make sure. I'm going to dip this back in, all the way down, and pull it back out. Obviously don't wipe it off this time. It's hard to see on camera, but you can tell the oil stops right up here where the full line is, so we're good to go. Our 15 quarts filled up this engine. I'm going to put this all the way back in here. Now write down the mileage or put an oil reminder sticker on your windshield and take it for a road test. You're good to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.